Welcome back to Mocking Person Radio. This is episode 7. I'm your host, Jack Polefko, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy you're here with me. Today, for our music review, I want to talk about Kenny Loggins, specifically his song I'm All Right. It was the theme song for Caddyshack, a movie that very much shaped me as a younger child. It's one of those kind of coming-of-age movies that freaked me out and made me really scared about being like a teenager / older adult, but I'll get to that in a minute. The song I'm All Right is this insane blend of like 80s kind of upbeat pop music with like insane harmonies and vocals. One of my favorite parts is when it goes dug 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 dug. It's wild. A fun fact that I learned is that a very famous part in the song, when Kenny Loggins does a fake intro into the chorus toward the end, he goes, I'm all right. When he does that, he got that from the Mamas and Papas because they had done the same thing on one of their songs on one of their records. But that was an accident. That was like a misrecording, and they just kept it because they thought it sounded cool. The song itself is really awesome and super laid back and brings back a lot of good memories of Caddyshack. Especially Bill Murray, who is amazing. And he also has his own clothing line now called William Murray. Check it out. Not advertised. I'm not a spokesperson, but they're really cool clothes. And I'd like to be a spokesperson. Anyone know Bill Murray? Anyway, Caddyshack is one of those kind of like coming-of-age comedy movies at the time. It had Chevy Chase, Bill Murray. I don't even know who the younger people were. Had Bill Murray's brother, but most things have Bill Murray's brother. And it freaked me out, kind of similarly to how I would later go on to watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Those types of movies always really scared me because they were meant to be comedies, but as a kid, I would always see people get into like sex and drugs, and it always ended like really tragically. Like there was always a subplot in those movies that was always really like sad and scary. Like Caddyshack on the surface is like goofy antics at the golf course, Bill Murray hunting, gophers. But on the underneath like level part, it's like there's this really hot girl who's flirting with a bunch of people, and then this young guy who works as a caddy gets seduced by her, and then he like cheats on his girlfriend, but his girlfriend is pregnant, and they like stay together at the end, even though she knows he cheated. It was just like, I remember thinking like, okay, I never want to be in that situation. It really scarred me. And same thing at Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which also has a great soundtrack. And it has what's that weirdo? He was in I Am Sam and he's really weird. Whatever. That guy's in it, and so is a couple of other like younger kind of comedic actors of the time. And that one has a subplot where like a 14-year-old girl gets pregnant and she like has to get an abortion. And I remember watching it with my dad and thinking like, this is terrifying. And my dad's like laughing at the other funny parts of the movie, but like to me, I'm just watching it. I'm like, is this what high school is gonna be like? And that's exactly what it was like. Everyone was pregnant. Not really. But I had a really weird and strange upbringing, where a lot of these songs, which are great, and I love them, and I'm revisiting them, kind of like Kenny Loggins, who is just, honestly, his voice is just so sexy. And when it gets to that harmonizing part, where it says, like, have your whole heart beating or something, I don't know what he's saying, but it sounds beautiful and kind of like the truth. But the weird thing about my childhood is, like, I watched all of these movies at a young age that maybe I wasn't ready for, but I couldn't watch like other things. So it's like, I'd watch super violent movies like Predator, but I wasn't allowed to watch, cartoons that had weird jokes. Like I didn't grow up with SpongeBob, and a lot of people think that's pretty sacrilegious, and I feel a little embarrassed even just saying it out loud. Yet, I couldn't watch SpongeBob, but I could look at Arnold Schwarzenegger's cock in Terminator like all day long. Like my dad would be like, yeah, you go ahead, check it out. RoboCop shoots the guy in a dick. Just a lot of dick themed things going on in my childhood, in movies. in movies. But the song itself, going back and checking it out, aside from those weird traumatizing movies from my childhood, is awesome. And Kenny Loggins is he just like goes all in. And I think Kenny Loggins was kind of just made fun of for a while because he was such like a big, he did Footloose. The dude is just like, like he just kind of like was so good that, and so overplayed that people just kind of started like making fun of it after a while. But it's awesome. It's like super upbeat. I always go for it. I really, really love it. Anyway, that's Kenny Loggins. Up next, we have a couple of things for you. We have Ben Shapiro on. Look forward to that. And we also have some news updates. So we got a lot in store for you. Stay tuned and enjoy the show.
I'm the Biddle Goblin. Here's a riddle. What are you watching? That's right, it's NPR. Goodbye.
This is Ask Benny with your host, Benny Shapiro.
Welcome. I'm Benny Shapiro, and this is Ask Benny, where I give you advice on your sad, pathetic lives. Today's dispatch is from Arnold. Arnold writes, Dear Benny, I have such small feet. They are tiny like little chicken's feet. Everyone makes fun of me, and it makes me so mad. I know you have itty-bitty feet, too. What advice do you have? Love, Arnie. Wow. Now this one hits home. Stay strong, brother. These ignoramuses know not what they talk about. Just because that we have small feet does not mean that we are not men. Just because we are small men does not mean that we are Oompa Loompas and house elves that work in factories. Now, what do I recommend? I recommend you get clown shoes like I have. They make my feet look much bigger, even though proportionally I look a little off. But that's a risk I'm willing to take, and I think you should consider too. I recommend the Bozo runners. They allow for more flexibility if you ever need to run away from much bigger guys. Also, I don't have a small wee-wee.
Do you have a small wee-wee?
Yeah.
Do you spend hours a day trying to stretch your chicken?
I wouldn't say hours.
Then you probably need the wee-wee extendo. It's the first ever wee-wee attachment. It's like a robot enhancement to your manhood.
Okay.
It turns your Slim Jim into a go-go gadget. It turns into a power drill, a grabber, and more. Then what are you waiting for? Get the surgery today.
Surgery? News time, I'm Newsman Steve. We got some juicy news for you folks today. Wall Street's in a tizzy as Raiders have an epic gamer moment making big boy billionaires say no bueno. GameStop stocks are going through the roof bananas, and it's making top eggs go buck wild. It's an epic showdown between a Monopoly man and internet hottie shots. I would not want to be in between those two animals. By the way, how's the weather, Barry? It's raining cats and puppies out here, Steve. I don't even know how to handle it. If you're going out, you better bring an umbrella. You might get a little wet. It's just my expert opinion, so you don't have to take it too seriously. Anyway, it's great seeing you all, and that's the weather. Stay dry. This has been Mocking Person Radio, episode 7. Thank you for joining. That's all I have for you today. Goodbye.